Gentlemen, over the weekend,
Oh, here we go.
the Chicago Fire played Inter Miami to a 4-1. Was it 4?
That was my worst Fire experience.
4-1.
That was my worst Fire experience, and not even regarding the game.
How many people were there? How many people were there?
55,000 people.
Wow.
I don't know if there was fully 55, but it was full. Like, it was what I want to see every game, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't.
What? Why? Because then it's like I don't even like their first album. I like the demo. That's fucking DPG.
You know why? You know why? First of all, it took me almost 2.5 hours, 2 hours to get to Soldier Field. Normally, it would just take me about 45 minutes to an hour.
Is this because of Labor Day weekend?
Yeah. Right.
It took
Second
me
of all,
17 minutes to get there.
Yeah, that's because you live down the street. Calm down. Second of all, you know what? It's games like this that make me really hate the infrastructure surrounding Soldier Field. Like, that is not a great place to be having a stadium and having access for parking lots and all sorts of things. That is a horrible infrastructure.
What do you mean? There's two big giant parking lots. There's a big ass parking lot, and then there's a parking deck, and it's so easy to get in. There's just like, you turn.
James knows what I'm talking about.
I very much agree.
Okay, if you've been to other different stadiums, and I'm not talking about your local St. Louis team or your local Peoria team, you will see the difference how stadium, even like old RFK, was set up in a way that you had multiple entrances, multiple spots.
Dude, I went to Dick's Sporting Goods Park, and that shit was like the state fair. It was just like a big old grassy knoll for you to park on, and like.
Oh, who plays there?
Colorado Rapids.
Okay, enough said. Like, there's probably more people in my neighborhood that go to the Fire games than whoever goes to Colorado Rapids.
I would not be surprised if they do not outdraw the Fire.
Look, all I'm saying is this: is that it was from the fan experience. It was a horrible experience. Because like,
wait, why? This is so funny. Why do you say this? So wait, paint the picture. When did you get there? Like, you said it took you 2 hours.
I got there like 20 minutes after kickoff.
Oh, no wonder you didn't text me.
Yeah, I was like already fed up. Like, I've been sitting in the car for 2 hours. Lakeshore Drive was packed. You know, everybody decided to go to Lake Michigan on a Saturday night. And not to mention, you had all these nobody got the memo that Messi wasn't playing, and they still showed up. Like,
dude,
you know, and that's
a good thing, by the way.
And the thing is that had Messi shown up, I would have sold my tickets and I would have been happily counting my money. But anyways,
if they didn't know Messi was coming, if they didn't have the ability to read a newspaper or check Twitter, man, I hate to. Matt, that worries me for the future.
Yep. So,
of our country.
And to make matters worse, you know, I had my son because I figured, hey, nice day to watch soccer game.
Wasn't it?
He was hungry. You know, we got some.
I mean, show the kids Sergio Busquets. Yeah, they need to know the fundamentals.
They don't know. They don't want to. He's not there to watch washed up bums. Okay. Anyways. We get the chicken tender platter. We get the drink. What else did we get? I think that was it.
Ice cream nachos? No.
And this is
there was a suspicious lack of ice cream nachos.
Apparently, Soldier Field now they want you to use a little screen kiosk to order food, at least in the club section. And then I asked one of the guys, like, "Hey man, I get 20% discount. What's going on?" You know what he tells me? He's like, you know what? It hasn't been working all day.
Okay.
How is that my fault? Give me my 20%. Like,
wait, what?
Yeah. He said it has the 20% discount hasn't been working all day. That was his excuse for not being able to give. But hold on. So I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I go downstairs, and I mean, James told you've seen the club section has 2 levels. I go downstairs. And I actually go to a person that's actually, you know, they're selling food from the counter. And I'm like, hey man, you know, upstairs they don't have the 20% discount. Hey, do you guys have it down here? He's like, yeah, no problem. I'm like, here, let me show you my ticket. I'll pull it. No, you don't have to show me. You're fine. Gave me the 20% discount. I got my chicken tenders, got my drink. Great. Go back upstairs. First of all, the chicken tender platter sucked in that section. All right, it sucks so bad. My poor kid, like, he tells me I guess he took a bite of a chicken tender. And he tells me, Dad, can I spit it out? And I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, yeah, go ahead. He spits it out. Not even a few minutes later, the poor kid throws up.
Oh
my God.
Throws up right on thing. You know what? I am happy he didn't throw up on himself. He actually like ducked his head and threw up on the floor.
I'm so glad he spit it out.
Yeah,
It must have been. It must have not been good, and he just knew it. He just like, you know what? Something about this isn't right.
So this was like around halftime already. He threw up.
Damn.
And then at that point,
This
I
is
was like,
crazy.
at this point, like I drove 2 hours. It was a hassle to get food.
Give your kid food poisoning.
And then I drove to give my kid food poisoning. Fortunately for him, I asked him afterwards, like, hey, are you okay? Do you need to throw up? He's saying, no, it's fine. He's 4 years old.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and at that point, I don't even want to sit in my seats because there's throw up on there.
Yeah.
The kid's like sitting in front of it. I'm like, you know what, Nathan, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And then I go, and then I try to go collect my season ticket holder gift. So I go downstairs, we do that whole walk. It's crowded. It's ridiculously crowded during halftime and that whole, section, the whole hallway section. And I get to the season ticket holder services or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm here to pick up my season ticket holder gift. And I guess the lady is like, hey, I'm sorry, but we didn't bring any tickets because it's so chaotic. And I'm like, okay.
What?
Okay,
dude, what?
Yeah. So
they couldn't get you your 20% because it hasn't been working all day.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get you your season ticket holder gift because it was too chaotic. Like, what?
And to, and they made my kid throw up because they served us crappy
and
food.
they made your kid throw up.
That had to have been undercooked fucking chicken for you.
And the worst part about it, because you know what, if this was a Bears game, that would not stand. Like literally, Bears, when there's a Bears game, they roll out the red carpet for like concessions. Like you get all the cool stuff. Like it's bad enough that the Bears literally flaunt what they're gonna serve at the stadium. So after that, I was already pissed off. I was already in a bad mood. I felt bad for my son because he wanted to stay, but I was like, you just threw up. I get it. It's exciting to be here. Let's just get out of here, kid. And he understood. He said, okay, let's go. And drove home.
Damn, man. That's a
Dang,
disappointing.
how long did it take you to get home?
It took about an hour.
Dang.
It was a lot quicker. So,
Did you listen to the game? What'd you listen to?
you know what? I just saw the score line. Once I saw it was like 4-something, I was like, thank God I didn't stay. No. And you know what? And it sucks because, this was his second Fire game. The first time I took him was against Montreal. And that was a cool game. He actually enjoyed it. And keep in mind, we didn't have the chicken tenders. We actually had hot dogs and nachos. and he loved that.
So the hot dog and nachos were edible.
The hot dogs and nachos were edible in the Montreal game, but the chicken tender basket was I actually felt it was a little undercooked. Like it wasn't even like hot. It was like lukewarm. And yeah, it was just like a bad fan experience, man. It's like I'm like debating whether or not I should call my rep and just like complain to him.
Dude, you did not have a good day there.
Nah, and it sucks, man. It was a horrible fan experience, and I get why people hate going to Soldier Field. Like, if it's a crowded, it's hard to get to the parking garage in the north garage, because it's only like one road leading into it. It's so chaotic to get into the Waldron deck from Lakeshore Drive if it's packed, because the line literally sticks out into Lakeshore Drive. It's just it's a crappy place to put a stadium with the lack of like infrastructure. Like
It's a crappy place to hold a soccer game right now.
yeah, and it's
I
it's most modern stadiums have very good infrastructure surrounding the stadium. Like there's multiple different ways.
It's also a crappy place to hold a Bears game, by the way, for all the exact same reasons.
So like honestly,
they do roll out the red carpet and the food's better, but the logistics around the stadium do not change, and they're just as bad, and if not worse.
And the thing too
dude,
is
I
that
don't.
it's because you take an Uber, bro. Like if somebody drove me to the stadium,
Driving the stadium's untenable. Yeah, it's
dude,
awful.
I usually that's usually the play, right? The play is usually take the Uber to the game,
Right.
And then that usually takes anywhere between 15 to 25 minutes, right? Depending on how late I leave.
Yeah.
And then I just take the bus out front back to the blue line and take the blue line home. Like that's, now I will say this, the buses didn't leave till after the Jason Derulo concert. So when I left, I had to walk to the red line to get to the blue line.
Yeah,
but that part was not the funnest, but it also didn't suck, right? It was still pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, it's so funny. Like I had a blast. Like I did.
I mean, it would have been a different experience. It's like if it was me by myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm like it's me by myself. I sit down by myself. I enjoy the game by myself. I don't care. Like that's me. It's just obviously when you take a kid with you, you got to make sure he's happy. And it's and the thing about it too is like I'm trying to get him involved in soccer, so I want to see him. I want to take him to go see the pros.
So I was gonna ask. I couldn't wait until we got on here to ask you if you stayed for the Jason Derulo concert.
Absolutely not. I will not waste my time. Like the first thing, I called my wife on the way over there because I was stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess there's a lot of people excited for Jason Derulo to be here because Messi sure as hell ain't playing tonight.
James, are you a fan of Mr. Derulo?
I couldn't tell you one song.
Yeah, agreed. So
it's bad enough that Chicago Fire media team has to like force their employees to pretend like they know Jason Derulo.
Well, did you see the email where they wanted to charge us another $40 to get on the grass to be in the pit for Jason Derulo?
I heard that. I wasn't there, but I think I heard afterwards through Discord that they had technical difficulties setting up a concert for him. Like,
of course they did. You could have seen that from a mile away. Like, so last year, I get it, because last year sucked worse. I didn't even stay for this concert. I can tell you it was better than last year's, because what this dude did last year, Little Dirk or whatever,
that was during the show. That was during the game.
Well, that was halftime. Yeah, that was halftime, right?
But here was hilarious.
Do you remember? Do you remember this musical artist had an entire stadium full of people to perform for? And instead of performing for these people, he stood in the corner and basically performed for a phone camera, and was on the screens. Why would you do that? Why would you not perform for the people in front of you? Like, you could have just stayed at home. They could have just live streamed it.
My thing is, man, they could set up a freaking Super Bowl like music concert like in like 5 minutes. Like, you telling me you couldn't do that with the crew?
They could have set that up better. But I will say this: like, I invited my boy out to the game. He was like, "Oh man, I fucked up my ankle." I was like, "Oh well, I don't want to make you feel worse."
Was he messy? Was it messy?
No, it was my boy. So I go, man, I don't want to make you, but you're missing a Jason Derulo concert too. And he goes, "Dude, you should have led with that." And I was like, "Oh yeah, why? Like, I've never heard him. What's his music like?" And he literally, this was his explanation of his music. They play his music at Target. That was the response back I got. Then that was it. That was his entire critique. They play his music at Target.